Since the beginning of the 20th century, humankind has coveted the possibility of creating a method that will allow us to travel the world in a few minutes. Vehicles, airplanes, and ships are just a sample of our longing to connect and cross borders. However, will you be willing to go through intense torment, memory loss, and even death to get somewhere faster and in less time? The 10 stories you will hear about in a minute are the testimonies of different people who have gone on accidental trips through portals. So far, no one knows if these events were experiments conducted by different governments on random individuals or if they were something out of our world. Regardless of the answer, be prepared to discover something extraordinary that could take you to another country in seconds or even to other dimensions. Number 10. The Harry Turner Incident. Truck drivers are the masters of long hauls. Traditionally, these men go through thousands of kilometer-long routes to transport goods from the most remote villages to the heart of the big cities. Although it is a noble profession and fraught with danger, no truck driver takes on this job with the fear of going through a portal. This is what happened to Harry Turner in 1979. That night in March, Harry was in a real daze. He had taken a very long shift and sleepiness was about to take over his body at any moment, until suddenly everything became luminous, as if someone had placed a street light in front of him. For a moment he felt as if he were out of his body. He lost sight of the road. The truck rattled with a strange clattering sound that ran through every inch of the cab, the wheels and the doors, until suddenly everything was back to normal, except for one thing. When he looked around, he was at his destination. How was that possible? Harry tried to ground his mind and discern what had changed around him, and instantly discovered that he was carrying a pistol in his hand, with empty shells scattered in the cab of his truck. He smelled his palm and the scent of gunpowder was evident to him. He had fired that gun, but he couldn't explain how it was possible. Puzzled behind the wheel of his truck, Harry discovered the fact that left him speechless. That trip should have lasted 130 kilometers, but the indicators showed a distance of only 27 kilometers. No one could ever explain what had happened. Number 9. The Melting Car in Chicago. In November 2008, a student experienced an abnormal occurrence that had been described many times as a trip through a portal to another dimension. That night, the young woman was on the highway on her way to her parents' house when a loud banging sound began to echo throughout her car, as if thousands of people were trapped underneath the carriage. The noise became a continuous clattering. The vehicle was shaking even though the young woman was driving at less than 90 kilometers per hour. Such was the noise that shook the car that the young woman decided to change lanes and pull over to the side of the road. When she turned off the car and got out to inspect it, she discovered something terrifying. The entire bodywork showed intense burns, the paint was peeling, and the metal had lost its shape as if it had been melted by a flamethrower. There was no one on the road. The young woman hadn't encountered a single vehicle on the entire trip. It was never deciphered what had happened, but the theory that it was a portal seems to be a very possible variant. Number 8. The Mann Family. John Mann was a punctual man who knew how to measure time. One afternoon he was going with his wife Gloria and their 2 children on a trip that should have taken no more than 90 minutes. He knew the track, he understood the way, and yet it was the longest and strangest ride he had ever experienced. Barely 30 minutes had passed when they noticed a strange light in the sky that was being attracted as if the car were a magnet. Immediately, when it landed above them, a fleeting flash blinded John for a few seconds. When he got control of the situation, the Mann family discovered that they were no longer on the road, but under a tunnel that zigzagged back and forth. No one knew how they had gotten there. There was no tunnel on the road. The path was completely open, but they wasted no time in explaining. They advanced without questioning anything, and at the end of the tunnel, they had reached their destination. When John looked at his watch, far from the expected 90 minutes, the trip had taken 2 hours and 45 minutes. Number 7. The Salyut Incident. In 1984, the Salyut 7 space station experienced a strange event. Svetlana Savitskaya was about to become the first woman to walk in space when they distinguished a kind of angelic and luminous beings, winged men and women who conveyed peace and happiness almost forcibly. In the space station, all the personnel involuntarily relaxed, and any negative thoughts disappeared for a couple of minutes until the image of those strange creatures vanished. The mission went on, but the men and women on the mission were stunned. What were those strange creatures? After many years, when the archives of the Soviet Union were declassified, the possibility that they were creatures from another dimension was raised, and they might have somehow managed to reach our reality. Number 6. Hidden magnetic portals on Earth. In July 2012, NASA announced the existence of X-points, or portals that actually exist on Earth, which the agency has been studying for many years. According to physicist Jack Scudder, these points are created where all the magnetic fields of the Earth and the Sun connect, creating a powerful portal whose functioning and possible consequences are still unknown. The mission in charge of discovering is called Magnetospheric Multiscale, which began operating in 2014 and continues to study this phenomena, although a series of anomalies and strange events have already been found by now in the area where the X-points are located. The project is still under the strictest surveillance and confidentiality, but simply admitting that these points can lead to really dangerous portals whose possibilities are unknown is powerful enough for us to believe in their existence. Number 5. The Spinning Vortex in the Sky. A 45-second video posted on the internet showed a swirling vortex into which a strange unidentified object entered and disappeared in front of the camera. Immediately, internet users began to theorize and look for explanations to clarify what had happened. Many comments claimed that it was evidence of a portal to another dimension. Many ufologists on social networks also agreed with this conclusion and pointed out that the use of portals or wormholes was the real explanation for the phenomena. Skeptics tried to dissuade people and pointed out that the images were the consequences of a strong tornado that dragged an object inside. A few others believed that the video was fake. Regardless of which explanation you prefer to choose, there is certainly something strange going on with portals. Number 4. An unknown location. A recording posted in April 2016 showed a strange black-colored sweatshirt walking through the door of a closed store. The sweatshirt lacks a body, arms or legs to guide it, but still, it moves. How is this possible? Is it a paranormal entity, or is there another explanation? After analyzing the video, many have discovered the existence of two slight flashes. The first one is seen when the t-shirt first appears in the image, and the second one when it is inside the store. This could have many meanings, but some of them could be about a time traveler or the possibility that someone has used the portal and had been trapped forever in an unknown limbo. Number 3. An unexpected police chase. A video shot by the Los Angeles Police Department in 2015 shows an intense chase of a car moving at a disturbing speed. The vehicle was dodging obstacles and evading police with enviable energy, but just as it was about to crash and subsequently be caught, it suddenly disappeared under the stunned gaze of the officers. The video was posted on the internet and people went crazy right away. This was impossible, and many people immediately labeled it as fake. However, a large majority of internet users consider it to be a true revelation, since the high speed of the car could possibly have ignited an old portal in the area, taking the driver to an unknown dimension. There is no explanation for this phenomena, and the police have repeatedly sworn that the video has not altered in any way. On the contrary, it was presented exactly as it was recorded. Still, the mystery survives, and so far, neither the vehicle nor the man driving it has ever been caught. Number 2. CERN's open portals. The European Organization for Nuclear Research has been in the crosshairs of countless global conspiracy theorists due to its influence and the development of controversial projects at its facilities. Specifically, in June 2015, Dutch photographer Harry Purton managed to capture an image detailing what looks like debris from old portals in the Dutch city of Groningen. Purton managed to upload his footage to the internet to try to find out together with other people what his discovery could be about. After much debate, it was discovered that one of the organization's most important nuclear projects had recently been shut down for supposed maintenance and that these were some of its used parts. Was that project being fed by portals? This is a question that is still hanging in the air, with no one answering it. Number 1. The car that soars above New Hampshire. A couple of teenagers were chatting in a car parked on the sidewalk in front of a building when a strange light in the sky blinded them. Before they could react, the car they were in began to rise with them inside. None of them knew what to do. The doors were completely sealed and a kind of light surrounded them at an immeasurable speed. They felt they were in the middle of an infinite tunnel and could only scream in desperation, although none of them could even hear the sound of their own voices. After endless minutes, the teenagers felt the car fall off a skyscraper until they heard a thud, and the bumper popping off made them discover that they had returned to the same parking lot they were in. They immediately drove to the home of their parents, who called the police. When the place where the teens claimed to have experienced the incident was inspected, dents could clearly be seen all around the car. There was no doubt that it was a very strange, homogeneous hit that could never be explained. Just like these teenagers, there are many similar cases of people who have experienced really strange situations through portals. Verifying the veracity of these stories is an extremely difficult task, and for many, it is a question of believing or not believing. Regardless of the choice you decide to make, we are sure that you are passionate about unexplained events. If this is the case, join us on a journey to discover many other inexplicable and absurd events by watching the following videos.